So now we're going to kick off a new list that I have of the top 10 1980s abductions that actually changed America forever. And as you guys all know, the 1980s was a rather crazy time. You know, the cocaine epidemic was on the rise. Ronald Reagan was in office. Parents were worried about us children being Satanist. Children out in Bakersfield, California were accusing their parents of rituals. And then there were child abductions. You guys remember the milk cartons and children being on the side of those milk cartons. Well, one of the first children that's on this list is Adam Walsh. And many of us all know John Walsh from his television series, America's Most Wanted. And now he has a show on the ID channel that is pretty much the same thing as America's Most Wanted. And so this was the first case that actually kicked it all off. It was far from the first major child abduction that swept America. But Walsh's parents pushed so hard for the kidnapping resources after this tragic tale that the 80s saw a major surge in anti-abduction activism. And 4 decades later, Adam Walsh's story is still felt by millions of Americans. And the unfortunate little boy's legacy still reverberates through law enforcement agencies, victim support groups, and countless grieving families. So as many of you know, Adam and his mom, Reevy, were at a Sears department store in Hollywood, Florida, July 27, 1981. And the 6-year-old boy asked his mom if he could go with some of the older boys to play video games in another part of the mall. She said yeah. And he ran off to have fun. Reevy shopped for another 10 minutes and then went on to check on Adam. However, she couldn't find him anywhere in the department store, and nobody had seemed to notice a young boy that maybe ran away or was being led out of the store by somebody else. Frantic, Reevy panicked and called the police. Florida cops immediately got to the case, and the stricken mother's husband, John Walsh, rushed to the scene. Sadly, Adam was never seen alive again. His remains were found 2 weeks later, and it started in motion the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. As you guys all know, it was actually Henry Lee Lucas, the sadistic killer that we covered in previous story, actually admitted to this crime. So it was in the end they pieced together that between Lucas and Toole and their known whereabouts in the 1980s, they realized that he may have actually been telling the truth. It didn't bring Adam back, but the Franken mission may have at least placed the final puzzle piece in this overall terrible tragedy. So, you guys all know this story. Adam Walsh was the one that did kick it off, and I hope you actually enjoy this series.